so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and I think he's always trying to fit into the Central European tradition expectation. And I hear that in the music all the time. This both worlds.
Beauty.
There are these opposing forces in terms of the ideas and themes and sentiments.
And it's amazing to see the duality between the European and the dark and obscure Eastern European sounds.
I was amazed how much this took me home.
Hello, I am Alondra de la Parra, and I am in Munich at the Bavaria Music Studios working with the wonderful Münchner Symphoniker and Dvořák's 8th Symphony.
Tai, pai, don't delay it. Just think, dun, 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 dun.
It's about landscapes, shiny moments, beautiful dreams. It's full of strength.
I love the fact that this symphony has been programmed together with Brahms's first, because I think it offers more lightness and more conviviality.
Contrary to a lot of the symphonies of the time that were to do with tragedy and fate and struggle, Dvořák's 8th is a happy piece.
Good, so good. Let's just do that. Say, let's do it again, and just relax that. Question, question, question.
It's one of my favorite symphonies and one of the first ones I've ever conducted. And I think the difficulty of this piece lies in its simplicity. It sounds like sometimes like children's music because it's very clean, no? Ja.
Könnte ein Kinderlied sein oder ein Vogelruf. Also
Ja.
die Assoziation mit der Natur ist bei Dvořák sehr stark.
For me, this is the two worlds. The birds, and then suddenly the dark sound of the clarinet. I feel it's exactly the opposite of what Central European music is and what his real upbringing is. Dvořák was the son of a butcher. He really wanted to make it, to be respected in Vienna by the establishment as a Czech composer, which was, he was always seen like a lesser thing. And actually it was Brahms who always said, this is a talent, take him seriously. And it was supposed to be played at the Vienna Philharmonic, and then suddenly he didn't hear back, and no calls back, and apparently the musician said no. So what he was going through was very serious, and I hear that in the music all the time, these both worlds. But also, Vienna didn't need another waltz writer. Vienna needed this spice of difference. It sounds a bit like a music box, like like a doll, and when you have. It sounds almost Arabic. Does it remind you of particular music that you feel it's where it's coming from?
I'm from Albania and I studied in the United States, and I'd never heard the symphony before I moved there. So I was quite young, I was so homesick. And then the rehearsal we had with an orchestra, I was amazed how much this took me home, this symphony. Especially the small notes that are such good gestures, I think,
Absolutely.
for whole Eastern European music and Albanian and Southern Europe as well. Of course, you can hear it more in Bartók, but I think I can see that the Albanian composers were very influenced by Dvořák.
There's a lot in common between the Eastern European and the Latin American rhythms because we come from dance.
And, everything is beautiful. It's like a sunset. It's like people find it really relaxing and
Happiness,
Happiness,
but
yeah.
there's also, don't forget that
Don't
it's been
forget.
difficult to get
Yeah.
here, yes. The difference of the two worlds are always there. And the pararati-hum, ti-hum, ti-hum, ya-da-da, ya-da-da. It's like you're seeing in one place, a beautiful landscape of Europe, and then in the second one you're seeing the deep eyes of an Eastern European woman or something.
exactly.
It's,
The
it's
history
different.
is always a bit
Yeah.
like it. Next to hope, there was always pain. There was always don't forget, which is
Don't
like the major and minor, which
Yes.
is so typical East European, I think. Ta, 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 ta. Yeah, I think this is so tragic.
Desperate.
And it's like in the middle of such a beautiful movement.
That place is yes, like the fate, it's like the weight of life, no?
More desperation. Thank you. Trumpets a little more bouncy. Is that da? Yeah, pa-pa-pum, pa-pa-pa-pum.
Yeah, sometimes it sounds like a ballet.
There are these opposing forces in terms of the spirit of the music, but there are also so many common ideas and themes and sentiments.
Ja, dieser schnelle Wechsel von den verschiedenen Sphären, das fasziniert mich an Dvořák.
Ja, das ist für mich auch.
Die Achte, es hat so viel Esprit und dann auch Glanz.
What do you think are the influences in the music of Dvořák?
Ich habe ein Zitat gefunden aus einem Brief. Sie wollen wissen, was ich tue, 1889. Es geht über Erwartung leicht und die Melodien fliegen mir nur so zu. Also diese Leichtigkeit in der Erfindung ist ja auch der große Gegensatz zu Brahms, der sich oft gequält hat mit seinen Ideen und verworfen. Man liest oft, dass eben dieser dritte Satz als Walzer, als Trist von Tschaikowski inspiriert sein soll, also 5. Sinfonie Tschaikowski. Also kein Scherzo, sondern wirklich einen Walzer. Ich glaube, man erkennt in all diesen Sinfonien, dass beim dritten Satz viele sich überlegt haben, ein Scherzo wie Beethoven kann ich nicht schreiben, also brauche ich etwas anderes.
Dvořák, in the third movement, he puts his mark. He does what nobody else can do. But in this one, you're right, it's very much like Tchaikovsky.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and to me the most interesting thing of Dvořák is when he's showing those roots
Right.
and those rhythms. It's so original. I think he was a person with humor, clearly. Because when you announce something like pam pam para pam pam pam, it's like here comes the king and da 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 da, and then the king enters. It's a big announcement for a very simple theme. There is a book of the memoirs of his son. The son explains about how his father was already a famous man and how he said, "Oh, let's go fishing." And they would get to be fishing, and then the minute they would be like, he'd be like, "No, we have to go, because I have an idea, and I have to get it out, Then he would compose, and then the next day they would try again to go fishing, and the same thing would happen, and it just happened forever. And he says, I never was able to really fish with my father, because the moment that an idea came, he couldn't function, he had to get it out.